It sound right, boy.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Happy New Year. Welcome back to our third episode of For Fight Fans. We wish you a happy New Year. Hope you had a great holiday. We were off last week. We had our great holiday as well, as best as we can in the lockdown situation. I'm back with Masood, Mehrat, and Saman. How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good. Super excited.
All right, so this week we're gonna cover a few topics. We're gonna talk about the best of 2020. We're gonna talk about some incidents happening on Twitter, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the UFC lawsuit that's going on recently, and we're gonna also look forward to the fights that are coming up in 2020. But before we get into all that, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. All of that helps us out. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into it. So, the best of 2020. We got to talk about our picks. So, first, let's get into the knockout of the year. Knockout of the year. I don't know. Let's start with Masood. What was your pick this year?
My pick for the knockout of the year was Beneil Dariush versus Scott Holtzman.
Mm-hmm.
That was, for me, that was the pick. It was that spinning elbow was something, man. Beneil Dariush has improved a lot in the past couple of years. He's been on a 5-win streak now, 4 finishes. He had 2 knockouts this year, but for me, the knockout versus Holtzman was the pick for this year for sure.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Ali Abdelaziz called him a gatekeeper. So.
Called who?
Yeah,
Beneil Dariush?
Yeah. Him,
no, man. Beneil Dariush is gonna get somewhere.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy when I read that tweet, but
he's improved a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his stand-up has improved dramatically, I think.
His striking is for sure.
He tends to be a little reckless, which I think helps him in that sense.
Yeah.
Because he has the power.
Yeah. Against Close, he kind of got reckless, but he showed improvement against Scott Holtzman for sure.
He missed weight his last fight, and he wasn't too happy himself about it. But still takes nothing away from the performance. Great performance.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. How about you, MJ?
Buckley. Gotta go with Joaquin Buckley. That knockout was just next level.
Yeah,
man. That's something you've seen. Yeah, you see that in movies, and you're like, "This is fake. This is not real."
I think that's gonna be the knockout of like the decade.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, like there were so many great ones this year, but I'm like, you just can't go against this one.
For sure. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. That's just my pick as well.
Just see that live because I was watching that live. That was really fun for me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe what I saw.
It was a great night. I was gonna choose that one too, to be honest with you, but because I didn't want to choose the same. That's why I'm picking Cody Garbrandt. He the knockout against Asensio. That was really perfect.
Yeah, it was a buzzer beater.
Yeah. It's like the way he ducked down and I don't know, but I kind of feel like he wanted to, like he kind of did that on purpose to leave opening, right? So as soon as he threw a punch, he just see that opening, and the cool part about it was that as he was down and bending down, he just directly threw the hook, and he punched and knocked out the guy. It was really clean. It was really clean, and it was like a fastball. It was really fast. So that's why
even in slow motion, it was fast.
It was really fast. So that
was an amazing, great knockout. Yeah, my pick would have to be Joaquin Buckley as well. I mean, wow. I mean, that's something you don't see.
Yeah,
probably in a lifetime, I would say. Maybe not.
You don't see that in sports.
I don't think we might see something similar. Although, to be fair, this knockout sort of paved the way for some fighters to sort of try to up the ante in the sense of trying to up it or try to beat it
outside the box.
The thing is,
which
the
is not necessarily the sense of it or the essence of it.
Buckley knockout was really creative, but the reason that they chose Cody's knockout over him was that it was his knockout was creative, but it wasn't like he see an opening to throw it. He just threw it, and he kicked, right. So once he kicked, he could land, but it wasn't like he can see an opening or he can leave a room or something like that. It wasn't that calculated. It was creative and it was nice. He landed, but the one that Cody had, it was really good. Like he had a good timing and everything went good. So.
Yeah, and Cody needed that. He needed
it was really technical. So
KO, helped him. Because he was just coming back.
Scene,
it was coming back, and
Nice. Some honorable mentions, I guess. We have to, shout out to probably Kevin Holland for his off the back KO.
Sean O'Malley,
stare down, a walk off, and
Jiri,
I can't pronounce his last name, from Poland. The way he knocked out Uzdemir.
Prahiska? Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm gonna have to look
so
into
many
that
crazy finishes this year.
Yeah, lots of crazy finishes this year. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to fight of the year. What did you guys think about the lots of good ones? Yeah, lots of good ones.
Many to choose.
Masood?
My pick would be the strawweight fight for the title between Billie Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I'm gonna murder her last name.
That was an amazing fight. Most people have forgotten about that.
Yeah,
fight.
That's why I wanted to bring that up, because that fight was just amazing. Especially it was the co-main event, and then the main event was one of the most boring main events.
Was that Izzy Yoel?
That's what it was. It was.
We watched that together.
But let's not talk about that at all. It doesn't deserve to be talked about. Man, that was 5 rounds of just technical striking. It was incredible. There were a lot of good brawls this year. A lot of exciting fights, but for me, I'm gonna pick that fight. They showed incredible technique, striking, hard determination. That was just something, and I think that was the last fight before one of the last cards before everything shut down.
Pandemic, yeah.
So it was, the arena was full. The energy was just incredible.
Well, I don't know if I'm right, but when I think about that fight, one thing about it was that, like, even in the last minutes of the 5th round, they were still, like, no one was exhausted,
Oh yeah, they were going at it.
For a female division, like, it was amazing. They were not tired, like they could go on for the 6th round. So
that was
incredible. It was a really great fight.
Yeah, there were just faces rearranged, but I don't think anyone was tired.
Yeah, Joanna became literally the boogie woman in that fight.
I felt bad for her, but she
had an intense stare down as well before the fight, and she was talking trash, and Whaley was like, "What is she saying?"
She didn't know much English. All she knew was "shut up." She's like,
"I don't know, what do you think?" Man, that was an insane fight. It seems like an eternity ago now, but shout out to that fight. It was an amazing fight. JJ?
For the fight of the year, I went with importance over excitement, I should say. The fight I picked wasn't the most, the most exciting fight to watch, but it was definitely an important fight for the middleweight division. You can guess, Izzy versus Costa. It wasn't a great fight to watch, but it was really important for the.
If you're an Izzy super fan, it's a great fan to watch. It's a great fight to watch.
It was just.
That's right.
Y'all must have forgot, right? Everyone doubted him. Including myself. I was like, maybe Costa is the one to finally do it. I was like, maybe Costa is really the one to actually stand up to him, but no, he made it look so easy that it wasn't a great fight to watch, because it was just super one-sided. Finishing the 2nd round.
But even before the fight, people were saying Easy gonna win. Like,
not everyone.
Costa was on.
A lot of people doubted him.
Costa was underdog in that fight.
I mean, he was pretty.
Many
much
people
favorite.
said Costa is underdog. The approach behind that was that everyone was saying Costa has the power, but he might not be able to connect. But
the thing is,
he has a reach and he's technical and he knows the space, but he doesn't have the power. And anyway,
I thought it was going to be a way closer fight, but it wasn't. It wasn't. He made it look so easy. It was, and that shows his dominance in the division, and that shows his class just above everyone else.
Yeah. It was very.
And that for me was the fight that reminded everyone that the last Stylebender is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay.
So that's why I picked it. It was important for sure.
Yeah, the finish was very similar.
Yeah.
The finish was very similar to the finish of Whitaker. That left hook, and they both got dropped, and he finished him. Yeah.
And I think Costa was a little bit cocky in that fight too. To be honest with you, like logically, when he at some point he got close to him, he closed the space, but he closed the distance, but he didn't grab easy. Like he didn't go for.
Yeah, I was nervous.
I don't know why he didn't.
I was nervous for him, but as soon as I saw Costa walk out, I'm like, yeah, this fight is over. He had lost the fight.
Costa, I think didn't have the same IQ in terms of fight IQ or in terms of just general.
And
he looked
IQ.
Scared. He looked nervous.
He was not there.
I don't think he was nervous. I think he just.
I don't know. He looked afraid.
His logic was that I smashed everyone with my heavy hand. And I'm undefeated, so I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah, but he didn't do that though. He didn't even throw any shots. He was just circling around. He didn't,
he couldn't process what's going on in there.
Yeah, he looked off. He looked mentally out of it. That's
at no point during the fight you could be like, okay, maybe he's got a chance.
I think he threw a couple punch, but since he couldn't connect, then he got frustrated, so he didn't throw anymore. Because the distance, like in point of reach, Easy was in much better shape, right? So, anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking about the importance of that fight, which I think you missed, is that he basically wiped the middleweight division out.
Well, that's what it said. Yeah.
It's just
well, it was two undefeated fighter too, right? That was important too.
He left. Yeah, he kind of basically was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this division."
Because everyone thought Paulo Costa is the boogeyman of that division, right? Everyone thought he's the one to finally step up to him.
Yeah, he was the rising star. Yeah.
The way that fight went down, it was just answered everyone's questions for a while.
Yeah.
At least the next 2-3 years for me. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Sam. What did you have as your fight of the year?
If I don't put importance over the
no, please put it on the fight.
Yeah,
we had enough of these symbolic ones.
Brandon Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Yeah. It was a great fight of the year. You cannot really choose one because, to be honest, the fight that Masoud picked, that's a great fight too.
Amazing.
But my point for choosing this fight was that it went to ground 2 at some point in the fight. So it was a bit more, in point of the technicality, it was a bit more diverse compared to some other fights, because I don't know if you remember, Figueiredo finished the 5th round with a judo technique, and he threw Brandon Moreno down. So yeah, I chose that fight. I think it was really
a crazy fight.
It was a crazy fight. Yeah. It was competitive, and it was one of those fights that I think sometimes some fights are really challenging. It's 50-50 all the time, which is really great. But when you see it, personally, I thought in the second round, I thought in 3rd or 4th round, Brandon Moreno gonna lose. He's gonna fade away. But it didn't happen. So that made it really interesting for me, because the guy was keep coming forward, right? So it was really great fight. It went to ground 2 a couple of times, and it was diverse. It wasn't only boxing. It was they throw some kicks. They did everything. So it was a great fight.
Yeah, amazing fight. And something we didn't mention when we covered the fight in our first or second episode, and it is when Figueiredo, the night before, he was in the hospital until 2 a.m. or something. He was had some issue with his weight cut. And he was almost not gonna be in the fight, basically not in the main event. But he kind of pushed through it, and I think at the end of the fight, when he kind of won, I guess technically won.
Yeah. Well, Brandon Moreno
was
pissed off
crying,
about-
you know, he was crying. He was like kind of like got through that emotional period in a sense. So yeah, that fight also, yeah, it had a lot of importance on the division.
Yeah.
I think that point deduction made the difference, you know. I think
It made the difference in the fight, and the result it did,
Yeah.
But it was fair as we talked about it.
Yeah.
As we talked about it.
I guess so.
Yeah. It was a great fight. It's real good. One more great thing about that is that the both fighters were they just fought 3 weeks before the fight.
3 weeks, yeah.
So it was amazing. That was really amazing. So
yeah, Brandon Moreno, like what a fighter! Like
can't wait to see more of him.
The heart he had.
He's young too, right?
Yeah,
he's not that. Yeah.
The heart, the amount of heart he had, wow, amazing. Just you love to see that in the octagon. My favorite fight of the year, maybe not necessarily the best fight, or maybe some people were perhaps disappointed or something, but it was Khabib versus Gaethje.
Good. I was gonna say that's important too.
I know a lot of people were just like, let's see someone give Khabib like a challenge, or give him hard things to think about and stuff. And then when I saw Khabib just maul him and just go through him like a rock, it was something very gratifying.
Kind of the same situation like the Izzy Costa, right? Everyone thought
no, man, it's not the same situation at all.
Okay,
so.
but
it was not the same.
You know what I'm saying, right? No.
That...
I'm just saying, as in everyone thought that Gaethje,
it wasn't.
It's gonna be a closer fight, but it wasn't. We saw Khabib dominance like we see every fight with him. So
that's right. Yeah.
I'm just saying he just showed everyone what he's all about. Why he's the pound for pound number one.
The difference would be that Gaethje kind of. Well, I mean, let's not say he kind of dished up, but he hit him with some hard shots. I mean, he tried his best to. And he just walked through all of it.
yeah. We actually watched the fight. I think like it was 1 month ago or something. Me and Monty, we watched the fight together again. The thing is, like, it's blowing my mind that I see some of the people in Twitter or some of the people who have podcasts. They say, "Oh, without Justin Gaethje is gonna be a good challenge if he would fight the same way he always fights, and he didn't fight the right way, and that's why he lost." That's bullshit. That's that's nonsense. Because like, what you gonna do if you hit a guy in the face and he comes forward? Like, what else you gonna? Especially if you're fighting with a fighter that takes you down, and once it takes you down, it's all over. You cannot just go there and just throw stuff. It's not like Justin is fighting against like, I don't know, like Dustin Poirier or someone like that. It's a completely different vibe. So I think he chose the right strategy. Yeah, he was cycling around, but that's what you do. What the hell are you gonna do? Like, you can't do anything else. So it's like I'm not saying like many people are dissing Justin Gaethje and they're saying he didn't go fight the right way. And when I say people, it's just as a known people, like former fighters and stuff like that. But I don't buy that. I think he fought good, and it is what it is. Like Khabib won the fight. So.
Yeah.
But money is right. If you want to put
dominant,
if you want to put importance over the like fight itself. I go with money. That was a really important fight.
Let's not forget, Gaethje is a All-American Division I champion, wrestling champion.
But how?
His takedown defense was immaculate, but it didn't matter.
I'm saying it just shows how level. Shows how much better he is in grappling, in wrestling.
And that whole story about how when he had him in the arm lock, he thought about how his parents are in the arena, and in the moment decided to switch over to a triangle.
Yeah.
That transition
we can never know.
Yeah, that's insane.
That transition.
Apparently, he broke his toe again.
His toe was
going for the submission.
His foot was broken before the fight.
It was the day before.
Yeah, they didn't reveal it.
And he did it again. He got caught in the fence as he was going for the.
Yeah, he heard it. Submission. That's why he picked up the pace once he heard it.
If you watch the slow mo, you can see his face just in pain as he's going for the triangle.
Well, like if you really look at that fight, no one like. Maybe we can say overall Conor did a better fight compared to Justin, but no one put that much damage on Khabib. No one other than Justin. So, but the thing is, no, like if you see the amount of punch and kicks that Justin did, no one has ever done that to Khabib. Like even Conor, who we say, okay, who's done it? No one has done it. No, okay, Al did not.
Back me up.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
That was a way closer fight, man.
I do think that Khabib decided to pick up the pace and like basically stare Justin down because he was getting hurt.
Okay, but what's your reference point when you say that was a close fight?
What? Which one?
The Alec Quinta and Khabib.
I don't think he meant it was a close. Well, I mean, it was a close.
It was closer than
his wrestling
because if you it depends how you look at it. If you're comparing the damage that fighters put on each other, it wasn't close at all. The only thing that happened was that Al was trying to.
He survived. Yeah. Let's say he survived.
Survival is different than putting a damage. Justin did a lot of damage on the first round and second round. He did a lot of low kick. Probably if he would kick Khabib 5 more times, he would land 5 more times, and the fight would go different. And Khabib realized that. As Money said, Khabib realized it. He was like, okay, I'm gonna be fucked if I'm gonna stay in this position and get kicked. So if you see the fight, the takedown that he gets Gagey down, he eats the shot. Like he goes for it. He was like, okay, I'm gonna get this leg kick. I'm gonna get damage on this kick, but I'm gonna take the same leg and take him now. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the best fighter of the year. So, in my humble opinion, although a lot of this is probably not stat based because he didn't get his final fight in December, but Khamzat Chimaev has made such a wave in the UFC that like I just gotta go with him as my fighter of the year just based on hype. Literally.
Yep, that's the hype thing.
Sure, he's had 3 spectacular fights against, let's say, non-opposition, but you just can't ignore the hype and just can't help but get excited for this guy. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
Who's going first? I'll go first. Yeah, I've never seen him against anyone in the top 10. No one has. But watching his previous fights, even before UFC, it's the same style. He's just like another Khabib. I know he doesn't want to be associated with like Khabib 2.0. He's like, I'm my own thing.
He shouldn't be associated with him.
No, but I'm just saying, like in terms of like the style of his dominance. It reminds me of Khabib, which is just like every fight is the same scenario. You know, it's just like absolutely no room for the other guy to move.
Too early to compare him with Khabib, but yeah.
No, I'm just saying in terms of the style of dominance. That's just what I picked up. Again, like even the fights before UFC, he's just doing the same thing. Anyone he faces, it's the same thing, same scenario.
But there's one thing that we saw in fights outside the UFC that he's done is that when he's fighting someone and it's not working out on the ground or he's not able to take the guy down, which one of his fights he wasn't able to, he reverted to stand up and he just said, forget it, let me just stand up with this guy.
And he has the power. And he knocked him out. He has the power to do it.
We haven't seen that necessarily with Khabib. He always goes back and he goes like, if I don't get it to the 100th time, I'll get it the 1000th time, and it won't get.
Yeah, but he's a different animal though.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Khamzat, I feel like he has a different sort of mentality in the octagon where he's just like.
Obviously, no two person are ever going to be the same, but just
Masoud, what do you think about
similarities?
Khamzat
shouldn't be made.
Khamzat, I mean, that would have been my second pick after Kevin Holland. But I think he's amazing, man. I think Khamzat is very dominant. His wrestling is unreal. His striking, we saw a bit of that for 19 seconds. I don't know. He's great. I think he's great. But he's not my pick. My pick was Kevin Holland for the best, for the fighter of the year.
5-0, baby. 5-0.
5-0.
In what? 8 months? Less than
7-8 months, yeah.
Amazing record. So I know Masoud and MJ are both Kevin Holland, and I know me and Sam are.
It's really hard to. It's really hard to like. There's no absolute. Like you cannot say absolutely this guy is the best fighter or that guy is the best fighter. It depends how you look at it. Like the only reason I'm saying Khamzat is that like in all of his fights he's been dominant. So it depends how I look at it that way, right? If you look at the way that Masood and MJ are looking at it, that's right too. The guy fought 5 times, so that's the record itself. It just depends.
And one.
Quality of opposition, of both fighters are questionable.
Both fighters haven't.
So
next year.
And then, by the way, guys, when we say, like, to all our viewers, when we say the best fighter of the year, we don't mean that fighter is the best fighter. It's the best new fighter, let's say.
Well, I mean,
it's the best fighter of 2020,
right? 2020, given everything that happened.
And it's been a wacky year. So we've had, random, some kind of basically new people that stepped up and came into the scene. I'm sure the official perhaps honor of best fighter of the year might go to Figueiredo because he's a champion and he's won 4 times, 3
I was there.
Draw,
I was tempted to pick him actually.
He's definitely worth mentioning as well, but
me too, but because I chose him for the best fight of the year.
In terms of championship, he deserves to get. But in terms of hype and everything, I think Khamzat, in terms of record and fighting, it's Holland. I guess that's all she wrote in that sense.
But they have to get tested against real guy,
Yeah, hopefully in 2021 we get to see these guys tested properly.
Yeah, this year. I mean, this is gonna be a big challenge for both of
maybe
these
against
fighters.
Each other.
They're gonna both of them are gonna be facing top contenders from this point on. So we'll see. We'll see if the hype is real.
You think that's gonna happen in 2021? Kevin Holland, Khamzat?
I don't know.
Or maybe 2020. That'd be a good fight. That'd be a crazy fight.
Too early to think about that. Too many people.
All right, guys. Let's move on to basically the UFC lawsuit that's been going on recently. It's recently kind of basically, it just has an update on the matter, in the sense that it moved into a class action lawsuit, which means that any fighter that fought for the UFC under UFC banners within a specific period, I think it's
2010 to 2017.
2017,
1,200 fighters.
And basically that pretty much constitutes like all UFC fighters, like if you can imagine everyone. And they can basically join the class action lawsuit, and they would be entitled to a share or a portion should they win in court. The thing with the lawsuit is that some of the fighters could choose to opt out in terms of eligibility, which I think could potentially create this rift in the future if this lawsuit gets bigger, where it's like fighters who are in or fighters who are out, fighters who are back in the UFC, or fighters who are not, and what do they do? Who's
company stuck? Man against everyone else.
The company man, exactly. And I just hope it doesn't come to that point where it's just like a separation between the fighters in that sense. You guys, where do you guys want to start with this? I mean, it's such a complex topic.
It is.
It's not really. It doesn't have to do that much with fighting, so I don't have much to say. But overall, if the UFC got to where it is now, it's because they did it like that, right? If UFC is like, let's say, if most competitive guys are there and you see the most competitive fights out there, it's just because how they did it, and that's why the case is coming up. In point of how they're gonna deal with it, I hope just whatever result comes up. I'm not in law. I don't know how it works, but I hope it doesn't turn into a result that just mess up UFC. You know what I mean? Like we want to make the sport better, right? So it doesn't mean that just because if we want to correct it, we put huge, I don't know, penalty or whatever charges on UFC. I hope it doesn't come to a point that UFC cannot run the way it's running anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you put huge charges and huge stuff on the UFC, then they cannot work the way they're working now. And the next thing you notice, other people, YouTubers and other shitty people that they don't know anything about fighting, they're gonna start to promote the stuff, and that's really bad for UFC. So whatever result it is, it has to be a kind of result that they just be a wake-up call for UFC to treat the fighters better. That's it, because the amount of money that is lost and time that is lost, and if you want to really get all that back and give it to the fighters, the UFC is gonna get bankrupt, right? That's a lot.
Well, right now it sums up to $800 million to $1.6 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
That's what all 1,200 fighters are after. I read somewhere that it could triple. If I don't know this whole court thing.
Well, there's rumors into it too, right? So you cannot trust what.
Well, there's a second part to the lawsuit, which is like the branding issue of fighters using their faces and their looks and their brand overall, their names and stuff in promotional materials such as video games and other stuff without their consent and without really profit sharing, without using the brand. That's a second part of the lawsuit, which still is in progress. That hasn't really moved into a class action lawsuit stage or anything. That's still they're talking about that. So I guess with that, maybe it rises to a lot more fines if that one kind of adds on to it, I guess.
Like that, you can't do that. I mean, I agree with Sam on what he said. Like, as a fan, I don't want to see the UFC go down, because that means no more UFC every Saturday, right? For us. But at the same time, I do want some justice for the fighters. And I've been saying this for a while now, man. It's not just one or two people. It's at this point, it's every fighter. And you see, I don't want to compare UFC with boxing, with football, soccer, baseball, whatever. Every sport is different, but you got to take a look at the salaries and how much the fighters are making compared to other athletes, and the risks they're taking. You know, it's a full contact. That's what do you call it? It's a full contact.
A sport.
I don't want to say sport, but yeah, sure. Well, yeah.
What else do you want to call?
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say, yeah, you gotta somehow like cover that risk, the risk the fighters are taking. Because at the end of the day, it's their life, it's their livelihoods, and yeah, man, I really hope we see some justice for the fighters.
Yeah. Masoud, you have anything to add?
Yeah, for sure. I think fighters should be getting paid more. You know, it's not fair for a fighter to get paid $20,000 for a fight they've been training for months. And they have to, all the costs that come with it, with coaches and dieting and everything that they go through for $20,000, it's not worth it. And
like after all your expenses, sometimes it's not even minimum wage, right?
Yeah, you work at McDonald's and make more money,
And like at McDonald's, you don't risk like getting your head like or
considering all the risks that come with it, permanent damage, CTE, serious injuries. And historically, I was reading that UFC fighters get less than 20% of the promotion's total revenue.
Yeah.
As opposed to for example, in NFL, it's 50-50 split between the company and the players. So I think it should be, I don't know, somewhere close to that, or even a little higher, even 10% higher would make a huge difference. And
most organized sports are 50-50. I don't know how it is in soccer, to be honest. That's a whole different world.
No, but UFC, I think UFC is one of the lowest. Like for a fighter who fights in UFC, it's one of the lowest incomes in point of other sports. Like even especially in combat sports, like just compare boxing. Like boxing, they get paid a lot, man. Like one fighter.
Only the top guys make a lot. I don't think.
Yeah, but even the top guys in UFC,
the top guys in boxing definitely make more than the top guys in UFC.
Much more.
That's right. Yeah.
Conor and Khabib fight, which was the the highest number of pay-per-view something. It's nowhere close to like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's nowhere close. Like you cannot even compare. So what I'm saying is that for sure I want justice, but I think the best way to kind of deal with this is that, again, guys, don't attack me on the comments and shit like that. I'm not a lawyer or judge or anything. I'm just saying the best way to support those fighters is that maybe they can put a loyalty on I don't know, some money loyalty on UFC that UFC has to pay in monthly basis or something like that. Because if they put all the charges at the same time and they force UFC to pay it, then the sport's gonna get shut down
that would be bad.
And then that's bad, you know, because UFC is a sport that is growing right now. Actually, you know, if it was boxing, then I wouldn't care because like it's already has its growth. You know, it's not that competitive anymore. But UFC is growing right now, and you don't want to shut down the sport, and that's it.
But just to add to that, because you brought up boxing, there's two sides to every story, right? A while back, I saw this interview with Dana White, and he actually explains this difference in salary, if you may. So he kind of had a point there. He's like, this is the reason boxing is dying, because the boxers, the fighters, are getting paid way too much. There's like 1 billion belts. Like everyone has a belt, everyone has a champ. Everyone
of course. You know, I'm not
every fight.
They should keep it competitive still.
Yeah.
But
every
still,
fight is like $1 million fight. You know, it's like a $50 million fight. You know, and so when you have fighters that are making that much money, then you take away the hunger, right?
Happy medium is good, right?
Your fighters are not hungry to go train, to go, you know, like compete in that level. You know, they just made like $50 million. You know, who wants to go back to the gym after that, right?
Yeah, I think they should pay him
So
like a reasonable
amount. He kind of has
amount.
a point. Yeah, he kind of has a point, but I don't know. It's just.
I'm not saying
way more complicated.
I'm not saying UFC fighters have to get paid as much as boxing. We will never get there. UFC will never get there anyway.
Maybe
but I'm just saying it has to be a bit more, right?
I think there should be a minimum purse for every fighter. You know, if you're an entry level fighter, there should be a minimum amount, like a minimum wage. You know how minimum wage works? Minimum purse.
Yeah.
So let's say 40K or 50K, something reasonable, not too much.
Or at least get
something
your
reasonable
covered, man.
Get the expenses covered.
You know, like get like your at least, you know, if you have a fight that's announced, you know, make sure that the fighter camp, gets a full training camp and whatever they need paid for. I was just reading on Twitter, I think yesterday, a fighter from Canada. He was complaining on Twitter about the flights and prices of the flights and the tickets and everything that's going on with that. And he was like, as a fighter, I can't even do what's necessary to get to that point where I need to be, right?
Yeah.
To train, to do everything else that I need to do in order to get to that level to start making money. So, and the guy is taking it on Canada. It's like, Canada is just a bad country, blah, blah, blah. Everything's too expensive. But is it really Canada's fault, or should we blame UFC, you know?
Yeah.
Well, UFC always tries to promote, like UFC doesn't promote a fighter. The UFC promotes UFC. You always say UFC 256. You know what I mean?
The ones they like.
But it's different. You know, like... Actually, GSP George St. Pierre, he said that in one of his interviews. He was like, "If one day I'm gonna fight with Khabib, I don't want to be." He didn't say I don't want to be in UFC, but he was like, "It's more about me and Khabib." But when this fight happens, UFC makes it more about UFC. No one says Khabib versus George St. Pierre. Everyone says UFC. I don't know, 270. Let's say. You know what I mean? So he was like, if one day the chance comes for me and him to fight together, I don't want it to be about UFC. I want it to be about us, which it makes sense in some ways. So that's what it is. UFC is and you know what? I'm not saying it should be always about the fighter neither, because like when, again, as you said, when you look at boxing, like the fighters, they get paid a lot, and then anyway, the sport is not as good as it used to be, right?
Yeah.
But you have to find a good medium, right?
Yeah. I think there was I think it was Jacare that was saying last year, he said like he's making more money teaching jiu-jitsu than fighting for, you know, UFC. He has to wait for a fight, and then he gets paid, you know, the amount that he gets is just not reasonable considering all the expenses that fighters have, and he's a veteran of the sports. So
and then one big issue with UFC is that, like, let's put the money on, like, let's don't talk about the money right now. One more thing about it is that, like, they can cut you off from your contract anytime they want, like, but you cannot cut them off. So let's say you're a fighter and you have a 7-fight contract and you do good in 4 fights, and then you cannot have your 5th fight somewhere else. But if you had 4 fights and you lost 3, then you get disqualified to continue the rest of the fight. So anyway, it has to be some rules and some regulations or something. Yeah. At least a payout, right? Like if you want to cut out
this lawsuit basically, it comes at a weird time, because if this lawsuit goes ahead and basically goes through and the UFC is fined and whatnot and stuff like that, it kind of burns a lot of any kind of bridge or any sort of paved road that would lead to a fighters union, which a fighters union is, I think, essentially what we need, even for boxing perhaps. But since all other sports, you know, organized sports or, you know, major sports have that union where they protect the athletes, UFC doesn't have that. And I mean, they protect them under their own wing in a sense. So it's not similar to boxing where the promotion is separate from the fighter. The fighter is the same as the kind of the promotion. They're all under the same wing and the same company. So basically having a union would kind of have someone fight for the fighters in a overall sense, to get something maybe like a minimum wage, or make sure that they have insurance, or make sure that they have access to training or whatnot, and travel and whatnot.
For sure.
But if this lawsuit does go ahead and UFC gets fined, believe me, you won't see a union anytime soon. You know what I mean? It's kind of go backwards, and then some fighters, you know, get the money. Some people pull out and stick with UFC and get better contracts, perhaps, and it's just all going to be kind of dirty and kind of messy.
Yeah.
Anyways, we don't know what's gonna happen. It's still in trial, so
way too many people. There's way too many fighters involved for it to just, you know, to just vanish.
But like I said, there will be
1,200 plus
high
fighters.
amount. I feel like there's gonna be a big amount of like a large amount of fighters that are gonna be like, no, we're not. Like, we're not down with this process, in the sense that, you know, UFC compensated us well. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have a problem or whatnot. So if they don't, out of the 1,200 fighters, if they don't get the support of, you know, however many, if it's not majority or whatnot, it's gonna change things.
Anyway, we never know what's gonna happen. So let's get to the next fight.
Well, there's a segue on from this, in a sense, in terms of UFC fighter livelihoods. Mike Perry has recently been on Twitter, or posting on Twitter, a very graphic video of him. You know, he kicked through his own glass window. I'm not sure if it was
something like that.
Own house or whatnot, but he tried to kick through a window. I'm guessing it was locked out because, for whatever reason, he was
intoxicated. I think he was drunk.
And then the amount of blood was so much.
Yeah, man, that was
the glass cut his leg. Yeah, cut his leg, and the blood was pretty much expected. I mean, that's what you're gonna get when you cut your feet with glass. Like, that's.
And I saw that first thing in the morning. As soon as I woke up, the first thing I saw. Oh man, it was not pleasant.
What a great morning. Huh?
Yeah, so I mean, this guy, I mean, he's kind of like just putting out cries for help on Twitter, and the worst place to put a cry out for help, because Twitter, I mean,
you don't get no sympathy.
Is something else, you know. It's
people are just savages on Twitter, man.
There's no sympathy there. There's no understanding.
Like there's different
on the internet in general, you know.
Like I mean, internet is a whole Like there's Instagram, there's like so many like platforms, but Twitter, man, people are just savages. There's just like no mercy. None. It's worse than the Octagon, man. It's crazy. Yeah. So there's a lot of people hating him. There's a lot of people attacking him, which, I mean, he kind of brought it on himself because he just like basically like screw all the fans, screw everyone. And I'm reading that and I'm like,
him, you know, the way he's being treated is affecting him.
For sure. Yeah. I never hated on him. You know, I never like attacked him because it's just not something I do, especially on social media. But at the same time, you can't just go and be like, screw all you guys. The same fans that, you know, stood by you during all the many ups and downs in your career, you know. And it's like, I mean, if this is like, we're talking just doing your job, right? The least you could do is just do your job and not insult your fans. But
I don't think he insulted all the fans though.
Maybe like 90% of them. But like, I mean, I don't even care about that. But like, the way this whole thing went down, you know, it's just a few days before his fight, the guy is just dipping a slice of pizza in like ice cream and just like pigging out on it. And then you miss weight, you know, like, come on, man. Like like a chef goes to work, his job is to cook, you know. A bus driver, his job is to drive the bus. Your job is to make weight, right? If you can't do that, like, you're not a professional.
I think that guy needs to put away fighting for a while and get some help.
Yeah, just take some time off.
He needs intervention. He needs people who are very close to him, not the people on the internet, but people who are very close to him to help him out.
I'm not sure who's close to him. That's the thing. I think
she has a wife, right?
Yeah, they're having a kid in like a few months.
Oh fuck.
And it's
yeah, I really think this is more of a mental problem. I feel like he obviously gets damaged in fights and stuff as well. That definitely contributes to it as well. And
he's taken a lot of damage.
The way he's always been in terms of his personality and in terms of how he's kind of like walked through in terms of his UFC career and all that, it's always been, you know, very hostile and, you know, out there kind of thing. But you know,
after all
the injuries and all the basically damage that he takes after fights and stuff, and the fact that he's having a financial trouble, not being able to, you know, control his finances even after, you know, 50K bonuses and all that, it just shows me that, you know, he's definitely not mentally sound at the moment.
If you just want to spend money, 50K is nothing. You can finish it in 2 weeks.
Well, for someone who has a child coming out,
yeah, I know.
He just doesn't know better, man. He needs help. That guy needs help.
Yeah, like, and I don't see anybody taking his hand, kind of like people crying out for the UFC to help him and stuff. I don't see anybody kind of like cuddling him or like taking his hand in a sense of, trying to help him out.
It's a cold world out there, man.
Yeah, man. No one's picking you up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You know, like and at the same time, there are people like, you know, like, I'm not saying I'm, you know, like biggest fan or whatever, but there are people like me or like crazier even, you know, that they're still trying to like stick by him, you know, like stand by him. But you know, you got to give people something, you know.
Yeah, he just, I think he's professional help, and I think like the United States in general.
But with all that being said, I still wish him all the best, man. Like I would never, you know, judge a person because you never know what people are going through.
Oh yeah, now it's clear more than ever.
Yeah, I would never, you know, be just like hating him or judging him, whatever. You know, he's dealing with whatever he is dealing with. But I just wish him all the best. I guess.
Yeah, you never know what's going on in personal life of someone.
I think people around him should intervene. and help him. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in a different world. He needs help from the people in his inner circle.
Yeah, maybe it's a personal issue that he has in his life, and we never know, right? And like I think these is like usually one thing it is that when you're, I'm not saying he's not a celebrity, but he's known, right? He's well known. He's a fighter, right? When you have a fan base and you have some supporters, sometimes even those supporters can mess you up even more. So, and that's the thing with him,
definitely,
that's the thing with him.
The fame is definitely getting to him.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. So anyway, the supporters should control themselves.
Hopefully he can figure it out.
Yeah, our supporters should press like and everything. Anyway,
hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
All right, let's move on to more positive notes. So we have great fights coming up in 2021. Let's dive into it. Let's see basically the stuff that's coming out, the stuff that's been confirmed, the stuff that maybe is more rumor.
Chandler.
Let's talk about the most important one.
What's that?
The blessed era is about to begin yet again.
Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. Well, that's the most.
Who thinks this is going to be a close one?
It's basically the one that's coming up first, I believe. It's a very competitive fight. It's going to be so technically, basically like tight, similar to a sort of like a fight we saw between maybe Whitaker and Till, where both fighters are extremely good in the stand-up, and
that was a great fight.
I think both of them, Whitaker's unreal.
Like if you want to learn how to be a judge, or like how to like score points, that's the fight you gotta watch.
Oh, that's a hard one to start.
Those two, they covered everything, in that fight.
That was a great fight.
I think it's a close fight, but I give more chance to Calvin Kattar. I think he's. I feel he's. Well, you're a fan of Max Holloway. That's why you're saying wow.
No, but he's just too good.
You're a
right
fan,
now.
So.
Like, he got robbed. Don't even get me started on that robbery. Robbery of the decade. But in my opinion, he's way too good.
That's definitely not robbery of the decade, man. There's so many worse ones.
Robbery of the year.
Even in this year, there was a worse robbery.
Yeah.
It was that guy with the referee where he got knocked out and he thought it was a low blow, Mark Tagnoni.
Yeah.
And then he came back in the third round and submitted him.
I know the ref. I forgot the fighter.
That's called a robbery.
Well, I mean, Dana still gave him his money. He said it after the fight. He's like, he's going to get paid as if he won the fight. And there's going to be a rematch. Something like that. He said something like that.
Dana says a lot of things. Let's not put too much weight on some of the
he's coming after streamers too. Forgot to cover that.
Yeah. Let's get into that at a later time. Let's continue talking about Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. The fight is obviously going to be stand up. Do you think it's going to go go anywhere near the floor? I doubt it.
Me neither. Yeah.
Calvin Kattar is obviously great in a boxing range, and he's also got comparable reach. I think maybe not as much as Holloway, probably not, but he's still long and lanky.
And I think he has more power too, to be honest with you.
I agree. He does have a bit more power in his punches for sure. Max Holloway obviously, has more output, more work rate.
Volume, yeah.
More volume. So it's gonna be an interesting one. I think that it's gonna be a decision fight and super tight.
Could be.
Very close decision. Could go either way, honestly.
Or it could be the same old story, precision against power, right?
Perhaps, yeah. Max Holloway may have a point to prove and might just look outstanding and kind of work his way back to that third title fight, which I think everybody's dreading. Because nobody thinks it's gonna happen.
No.
But it's gonna be a great fight.
Masood.
What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be a very very technical fight. I'm backing Max Holloway for this one. I think he's got it. I think the caliber of fighters he's faced is on a different level compared to Calvin Kattar, and he's gonna outclass Calvin Kattar.
Outclass? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm gonna make a bold decision.
Oh yes,
I like
blessed.
it. I like it.
Hashtag blessed.
And he's coming off of the 2 losses, and I think he's there's no way he's gonna.
I mean, if he's not hungry right now, I don't know who is.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a great fight. I might be wrong. Calvin Kattar is he might get a finish or something. He's got power. He's got good technique, good striking, good boxing. But I'm gonna go with Max Holloway.
All right, another fight that's not necessarily, I think, confirmed, but there's a lot of talk around it that it's sort of like it is confirmed. So Hooker versus Chandler.
That's confirmed, isn't it?
It is confirmed.
I saw the
it
poster.
I think it's confirmed.
Yeah.
For January 23rd.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's a co-main. Yeah, it's the co-main
257,
event under Conor and Poirier. There was some talk about making this fight a 5-round.
Isn't it 5-round?
Well, it's a co-main, so I don't think so.
It should.
And it's all for the title, so why?
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 rounds.
They're thinking about doing 5-round co-mains, but
I agree with that.
We'll see how that goes. I don't know how that's gonna go. We'll see. It's just a rumor. But Hooker versus Chandler. We haven't seen Chandler in the UFC. Obviously, he was the Bellator champion, lightweight champion. How do you guys think this is gonna pan out? I think Hooker is probably not gonna last long.
Well, the thing is, we don't like. We can go search Michael Chandler's previous fight, but I personally, if the guy didn't have any fight in UFC, then I don't really refer to his previous fights. You know what I mean? But he doesn't have any ranking in UFC right now. The point is that he's good in a stand-up. Hooker is good in a stand-up too, but he has what's that? Chandler has the wrestling advantage. So if it goes to a really competitive stand-up fight, I think it in the 4th or let's say if it's 5 rounds, right? In the 4th round, he's gonna go for takedown and he's gonna win by decision. That's how I think. And then, that's if I was his coach, that would be the most logical way to win a fight. Because if your stand-up is good enough to do a stand-up, okay, keep the stand-up, and then after 3rd round, just go for a takedown, finish the fight. And that's how I can win the fight.
I think Michael Chandler, the reason why he hasn't accepted a fight these past few months, and he's always kind of been hyping it up and kind of teasing here, teasing there, playing around with this guy, playing around with that guy, is because he was waiting for the right opponent. And I think
he's the right opponent.
Hooker is the right opponent for him to begin his UFC debut. And I understand when Sam says that, we haven't seen him in the UFC, it's hard to judge him, but his Bellator days and his fights in the Bellator cannot go unnoticed.
You cannot ignore it,
he was dominant. He was very dominant. He has great wrestling chops. He has a good ground game. And, he's also someone who's very... he pushes forward a lot. I mean, he's very aggressive and is always kind of pushing the fight. I don't know how he's gonna do in a 5-round fight. I'm not sure how his stamina will be, because he is a pretty bulky kind of guy. So,
but I think he's been in 5-round fights before. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be 3 rounds.
But yeah, I think this one's gonna be a 3-round, which will probably suit him better because he can even exert even more dominance in terms of wrestling. To try to take Hooker down. If he takes Hooker down, I think it's over. It's going to be it might be a submission win or a ground and pound win.
He has finished 4 or 5 round fights in Bellator. Just wanted to mention that.
So this guy definitely can go the distance.
I was just gonna add to that. Not just his grappling and his ground game, he can also finish people. And let's not forget Hooker's last fight. He took a lot of damage. So did Poirier.
Poirier. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about Conor, Dustin later, but Hooker and Poirier both took a lot of damage in that fight. So if anything, I would give the edge to Chandler for sure. Yeah, because I don't
young
know.
Though.
Because we all know what Hooker's capable of, right? Dan Hooker, we all know like what he can do. He can finish people. He's finished a lot of people. You know, he's got the KO power, all that. But the damage he took from Dustin, I don't know if he's recovered from that.
Well,
I think he's young. I don't think that's something we need to basically consider this time.
I can't say for sure.
I don't think it has a like. I'm not saying it's not gonna affect his fight, but it's not noticeable. So it's not like it might affect him a bit, but as money.
I don't know. So. He finished that fight and he seemed perfectly fine at the end of it. And when Dustin was getting his hand raised, yeah, I mean he was standing there, breathing, conscious.
Yeah, he was on the bed.
After
the hospital.
Yeah, everybody goes to the hospital after. They have to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sure. I mean, you can walk to the hospital, or you can
for stitches you gotta go to the hospital. But I don't know. I think he's a young guy. I don't think he's gonna.
I like him, man. I like him. He's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. But
if a fighter goes
I'm just saying maybe the damage was just too much.
If a fighter
we have to wait and see.
If a fighter goes to hospital after a fight, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's in a bad condition. Like
but I saw the fight, 5 rounds,
and you know, the fact that he got punched a lot, that's right. But like I know where it's coming from. What you're saying, where it's coming from, because like we've seen, for example, like Tony against Gaethje, and we going based on that. Dustin Poirier, he doesn't punch as heavy as Justin, so. That's how it is. Like it depends how heavy the shot is too, right?
He did finish him though. Dustin Poirier finished Justin Gaethje.
I know, but that's irrelevant to what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
His punch is not as hard as powerful as Justin, so you cannot compare and say because Tony wasn't same after Justin's fight, and now Hooker won't be same after Dustin's fight. It's not a logical comparison. And yeah, that's all I think.
All right, let's move on to the fight that's coming up where we're all looking forward to, the Fight Island. Conor versus Dustin Poirier. I don't know what to expect of this one because there's no fans, or there might not be any fans. Probably there won't be any fans. So are we gonna see a difference in Conor's game because of that?
No, I don't think so. No,
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good question. To be honest
with you, I'm not really excited for this fight anyway. I'm not being a party pooper, guys, but I'm just not really excited for this fight. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something that you really know the result, and it's just a pointless fight. It's bullshit. It's one of the worst.
You're that biased, eh?
What do you mean biased? Like
you already know the result. You know Conor's
I ask you a question. Okay, I ask you a question right now. Since you're really a fan for Easy, so if in 3 years Easy fights with Costa again, is it interesting for you?
Depends.
Not at all. Not at all.
It does.
No, it's not because
if
you already
Costa goes and like defeats like I don't know like
Whitaker,
like everyone in the like like top 10, and he goes on a crazy run, then that would definitely make sense, and I would definitely be excited for that fight again. I wouldn't be just ignoring and be like, oh no, like he already won. Like he already did it once.
Okay.
I don't know.
But if you compare,
I mean, sure, like the first time Conor won, but also Conor fought Nate Diaz the first time and he lost, right?
Yeah, and then he won the rematch.
So why can't it happen the other way?
Okay, but because it's a completely different story. In the first fight, when your comparison is wrong, because when you're comparing Diaz and Conor fight, and you're comparing that with Dustin and Conor fight, you're comparing two fighters that one of them, like Diaz, he's a legit jiu-jitsu guy. He's a good grappler. Maybe he doesn't use it that much, but he's a legit guy. So you cannot compare him to Dustin, because Dustin doesn't have a fighting style that Conor does not want to be in there. You know what I mean? Like Diaz has jiu-jitsu, so he could use that to win against Conor, and that's how he won the first fight.
What? After 5-6 years, if I'm not wrong.
6 years.
More, I think.
6 years.
6 years.
6 years. Yeah.
6. Yeah, I think it's 6. So this is a different Dustin, man. I don't know. I think you're being too biased.
Okay, what do you?
I don't know. I'm excited for the fight. I think.
Okay, but tell me, what round? How?
I'm like, you're gonna be surprised, but I will actually give the edge to Conor. I think he's gonna get this one.
Well, I'm not surprised. You should, because that's the fact.
Because you think I hate Conor, but I don't. I think he's a great fighter.
If you would say Dustin, if you would say you would give it to Dustin, you would look really stupid. So good, good choice. But I'm just saying, like, if you really know a result of a fight, that's why I'm saying it's not interesting for him, because you already kind of know how to. Yeah, maybe the first fight Conor knocked the guy. He won the first round, I guess. So maybe this time it'd be different, but how different? Maybe it's not first round, it's third round. Who cares? The result is a result.
I don't know. I can't say, but I'm just all I can say is that I'm actually looking forward to this one. I want to see how this one pans
I'm just
out.
excited to see the fight. What I think is critical for me is that we haven't seen Conor
in a long time,
in the media, in anything, in a long time, and that impresses me in a sense that he seems focused. He seems focused on the fight. He's been training for months, and he's not really getting involved in a lot of trash talk or anything. Everything's kind of just like down low on the DL.
And the last time we saw him was against Cowboy, a guy who is almost retiring, but we saw a dominant Conor nonetheless. So
I don't know how much importance or how much we can take from that fight, to be honest with you.
Not much. Yeah.
The thing is, Conor, if he be dedicated, he's gonna perform good. But if you take it as a joke, then
so that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, the fact that he looks like he's very dedicated right now, and he seems like he's focusing on the right things.
Well, that's what his trainer is saying.
Tells me that he's gonna come in and probably make a statement.
For sure, you're gonna see that motivated Conor as they advertise. Like the most dangerous Conor.
I just hope the fan thing.
You're gonna see him for sure.
Yeah, I hope the fan thing doesn't bother him, or it doesn't take away from his.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Hey, he's I don't know. I think.
But he was always a fan favorite. Like most of his fights, the whole stadium is like cheering for him. So. That could actually affect him. I don't know. Again.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how.
I don't think so. If you're fighting against a guy that you already won one time before, you're even mentally in a better shape. So you're gonna. If it was the first time they were fighting, maybe it would be different. But when you have a fight, the same thing it is with Khabib and Conor. Everyone says that if they get a rematch, Khabib wins the game, because not only that he's technically maybe better, but mentally he's in a better situation too, because he defeated the guy once before. So.
But that was 2 years ago. This is like after 6 and some years.
It's a long time. Both fighters have changed incredibly since their first fight.
Especially Dustin.
If Dustin was a fighter that he would do wrestling, or he was a like 50-50, like he was a submission artist too, then it would be different. Like, I wouldn't say Conor would win, but Dustin's main weapon is his stand-up and his punching power. So like he's a striking skill. So
he does have good submission skills as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't really go for that much.
He has wins by guillotine.
By Darce show guillotine. Yeah.
Masu, what do you think about what the fight is? Dustin gonna be?
I think it's going to be a great fight. It's been 6-7 years since they fought. They have both improved tremendously since then. But I'm still going to give the edge to Conor. I think Dustin is more of a brawler, I think if it goes the distance, it goes past third, fourth round, and he can and Dustin can stay in the fight for that long, I think he may have a chance in the later rounds. But early on, the first 2-3 rounds, I think Conor will probably do the job. And
that's a great point, because we all know about Conor's conditioning. It's not the greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dustin, I mean, you never know what happens in a fight.
He hasn't needed conditioning.
Exactly. Well, one thing, like as Monty said, he didn't need conditioning because he was finishing most of his fights. But one more thing is that I think Conor is a smart fighter too, in point of how he should fight. I think if it comes to a third round and he be a bit exhausted, he knows how to back up a bit, and like even in the not between the round, I'm just saying, like even in the fourth round, he kind of knows how to catch his energy back and come back.
And also the same thing I said about Dan Hooker goes for Dustin Poirier. Maybe he just took way too much damage in that last fight.
That's really important. Yeah,
I guess we got to find out.
I believe one of the reason that,
but both Hooker and Poirier took too much damage, man.
Yeah.
That fight, really like important. It could that fight could have just finished in the first round, in the second round, in the third round, in the fourth round. It was just one of those that was just.
Yeah. I think one reason that Conor is really good in his striking and he has that precision and like timing is because he didn't get much damage and throughout his career, right? That's really important. That's really important point, as you said. So it's really important for this fight, but overall, like even he was damaged, even if he was damaged before, I think he could still win the fight.
Yeah, that's his style. He doesn't take a lot of damage.
That's why I don't like I don't know who arranged this fight. Like maybe Conor wanted, maybe Dustin wanted, maybe Dana did it. I don't know, but
they
like
pushed for it together.
Sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, let's check it out from both fans' view. Let's say if you're Dustin's fan, you still don't think Dustin's gonna win that fight. If you're a Conor's fan, like I'm not a really crazy Conor's fan. What I say is a fact. I think Conor has the best stand-up in the 155 division. But I'm saying, like, if you're a Conor's fan, there's no point into it, because the ultimate goal for Conor is to get a rematch against Khabib, and you're going against a guy that you already beat, and he doesn't have any grappling. What's the point? What's the point of that fight?
So it's just a number. Perfect matchup for Conor then, for him to get back into the light.
But it doesn't build him up for the more difficult fight.
It does, man.
It builds him up perfectly.
Yeah, whoever, Dustin or Conor, whoever wins this one,
isn't Poirier number 3 right now?
Okay, hold on.
Number 2.
The winner is gonna fight. The winner is gonna fight Oliveira.
Okay, hold on, guys.
So if you take out number 2, you don't get yourself in a good position.
When I say build up, by build up, I don't mean the hype. That's a different story.
No, man, I meant road to the title.
I'm saying in point of a style of fighting, it's not really a challenge for him. You know,
so why would he want a challenge when he wants to go for the title? He just wants to go through people.
He's already switched to Conor fan language, so I don't understand him.
Yeah, I don't understand. If you're a good Conor fan, you should want this fight because it's an easy fight.
Because like you win this, Conor wins this. It's a title fight after.
Okay, so if that's what you call a fan, then that's not a fan. That's because the thing is, like, if I'm a true fan of a fighter, I want to see that fighter go to a fight that I assume that there's a challenge for him, right? If I'm a fan of, let's say, Chandler right now, I'm not really that excited because I know there's no challenge for him. Like, why would you go to a fight if there's a fight that already before the fight you know you're gonna win that fight? Then there's no point to go and fight. Like that's more what my approach is. So maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be that easy.
Let's wrap this one up.
Let's just mention Hakeem Dawoodou from Canada. Me and Hakeem. He was supposed to be the co-main for Dustin Conor, but now with Dan Hooker, Chandler,
it's gonna be the third fight.
I think he's gonna be the third fight. Right after Amanda Ribas.
Nice. Can't wait to see her back.
Rodriguez. That's gonna be a great fight. Jessica I is gonna be in that main card. It's gonna be a good card.
Yeah, man, can't wait. All right, guys, so this is it for the third episode of Four Fight Fans. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get down there, comments, tell us what you think about all the fights that are coming up and anything else that we've talked throughout the show. So thank you so much for watching. Good night from all of us. Take care.
Like, comment.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Next week.
See you next week.
See you.